Check out those eye teeth. How to cut your eye teeth on something to supersize and grow your business. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Our idiom today is to cut your eye teeth on something. This, of course, means to gain experience, to become wise, to get wisdom, to figure out how to do things, and usually at a very young age. Now, the idiom, of course, comes from the process of children, babies, not children, usually babies that get their teeth, right? So babies, your teeth actually, when your babies, cut through your gums. So babies chew on hard things, they try things, they chew on pretty much everything they can get their little hands on to help the gums break through. So that means they try a bunch of different things to speed up the process of learning, of gaining wisdom. And we do the same things in our life. Throughout the rest of our life, we learn at a very young age that we can speed up the process of learning something and gaining wisdom and experience by taking action, by doing things. So we figure this out at a very early age, and it continues on through the rest of our life. So how do we apply this to our business? How do we apply knowing that in the beginning we are going to absolutely positively stink at something? How do we speed up the process to get better and better and better at it, to grow our business faster, to create the business that we want to create, to make the change that we want to make in the world? Well, several ways. Number one, by never giving up, by trying and continuing to know that we'll start out rough and rocky, but as we tweak and change and try and experiment and model and figure things out, because we can figure anything out, we will figure out to the point of becoming masters and proficient at something. And in our businesses, we want to focus on the things that we are terrific at, that we're awesome at, our genius zone, the things that we can do for other people or help teach other people to do that will help them to solve problems or have a better life or lead a better life. Now, people love to know what our eye teeth cutting story is, our origin story. This idiom reminds me that we all started out somewhere and then now we're doing what we do. People want to know, especially our customers and the people we team up with, why we do what we do. Why we do what we do is because of something that happened in our life. That is our story, our origin story. Why do I like business? Why do I talk about business? Why have I been in so many businesses all the time? Well, it's because when I was a little girl, very little, my father worked in corporate America. He had a very solid job in corporate America, but on the side, he always had businesses. He always had some kind of an enterprise going on and partnerships going on and several different businesses with different business associates. And I saw that example at a very young age. It also opened up opportunities for my sisters and I at a very young age to participate, to do things where we could earn money, where we could impact the world, where we could find ways to make money as young kids. So my very first business was the ice business. I was involved in the ice business. We also learned to work hard and things like that, that those lessons carried us through our entire lives. Now, that's not my whole origin story. We all have very complicated origin stories, and we pick and choose what origin stories to tell, what parts of our history to tell based on the situation. So often we see rags to riches stories being promoted, especially online, but in movies and in plays and in the news media, where all of a sudden so-and-so, and I just saw a headline yesterday, join us to see how X made $1 million in 48 hours. Now, that sounds like a rags to riches story, right? Like, you know, here he was day one, 2 days later, he had $1 million. Now, what you're missing is all of the work, all the effort, all of the learning and the experience that he had up to the point where he did something to earn $1 million in 48 hours. Now, I'm super curious, so I'm probably going to watch that webinar, but most people will look at that and say, here's a rags to riches story. I can never replicate that. So we want to be careful about the stories and the messages and the testimonials and things that we're sharing with the people that we serve, because we want them to know and we want to reinforce for them that it's possible for them to get that result as well. Most people will hear that $1 million in 48 hours story and they won't even watch the webinar. They won't even look at it because they can't see themselves in that story. They can't see themselves being able to get the same result in that short amount of time. So they don't even believe that it's possible. And once people don't believe something's possible for them, guess what? They don't choose to do business with you. They don't choose to take, to let you help them solve the thing that you solve for them. So we want to be careful about that. The other thing this idiom brought to mind to me was the saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, well, that really goes against this saying where you start something and you're going to be bad at it, and then you're going to finish as a master if you keep at it. Because I believe that how we start something isn't how we finish it. Can be if you start something and you struggle and then you quit during the struggle. You started it kind of how you finished it. You started it in trouble and you finished in trouble. But most of the time, we start something and then we struggle with it, and then we figure out what works for us, and then we eventually, over time, after practice and experience, we master the thing that we started. So how we start out, as a novice, and we finish as an expert. So how we start things isn't necessarily a direct correlation to how we finish things, and how we do anything isn't how we do everything. Although the tenacity that you need for starting something new and seeing it through to the end and figuring it out to become a master, that could be an example of how we do anything is how we do everything. If you master everything, you know that you're going to figure it out no matter what. I guess that does go in line with that saying. So often there's sayings that are popular and they're passed around social media, and I'll read them and I'm like, no, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. I see how most people would believe that, but I don't. And I'll put nope or something underneath the comments. There was one about hard work the other day that went around from Gary Vee, and it was like, all these things are hard work. And I'm looking at the list and I'm like, no, not really. They're a matter of choices. And if we choose something, is it a struggle? I have a really hard time with people that say you have to hustle and struggle to get what you want. If it's a struggle, right, it's a little difficult and challenging in the beginning, but if you don't believe you can figure it out and it's a struggle, it's probably not the right thing or the right road for you, and as well for the people that we interact with. Our products and services, no matter how awesome they are and the best in the world, are not for everybody, and they're not for everybody right now. And so what we're looking for is, how can we help people right now who are looking for us right now? So I actually love this idiom. I think it's really a powerful one that talks about, experience and how we can do anything, and we can do absolutely anything if we just believe we can. And if we're willing to put in the effort, find the way to figure it out for ourselves. So that is our idiom for today. I would love to know your experience with cutting your eye teeth. What's your origin story? Why do you do what you do? Share that in the comments below so all of us can learn more about you. Have an absolutely amazing day. This was actually the 500th idiom, at least since I started counting. I did some, but I didn't count in the beginning. But since I've started counting idioms, this is the 500th one that I've shared. So may or may not continue with this. I personally find it a fun way to get my brain going every day. But if it's not of any value to anybody else, then I probably will find something of more value to share. Go out, have an absolutely amazing day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Bye. Cut your eye teeth on something new.